so many people have these questions. I bet you do too. What's up, guys? MtgJedi here. We are with my dude, Mr. Sheep here, on his account. I'm super pumped to do this coaching session semi-live with him on voice chat here so that we can go through his account, give him some pointers, and hopefully you can apply that to your account. Sheep, how you doing, my dude? Thank you so much for being here.
What's up? What's up, man? It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm doing good, doing good.
Good. My pleasure. My pleasure. So I've been talking to Sheep, and he got a coaching through my website. If you're interested, make sure you head over there under the takeover section and see if that's something that will fit your needs. I can do private Discord coaching or live on Twitch, whatever suits you. But for today, we're going to jump into Sheep's account. And what he was telling me basically before we hopped on camera here was that, he's a low spend player. Recently, he spent a couple bucks to make sure he got the nut fusion, and now he's kind of needs some direction about where to go, how to make improvements, how to progress his game. And just so you know where he's at, he's been playing for just like a little bit under a year, and he's made really good progress so far. But with his account, the new pack, we'll have to take a look at that later. With his account, he has the possibility to make so much progress. So today, he wants us to take a look at Clan Boss, Hydra, his dungeons, just an overview of everything in the game, and make sure that he's on point and has some direction with where to go. And I think that this is one of the main things a lot of players need in the game. So let's first jump over into the Great Hall and take a look and see what's going on there. Now, based on when I look at the Great Hall, what I'm looking for is one level 10 bonus to give me an idea of whether you got Arbiter or not. So this tells me that one of the main focuses immediately should be getting Arbiter on your account.
Yep.
And your Great Hall is looking fine. I would say maybe you're a little bit behind there, but one thing to keep in mind throughout this coaching session for everyone watching is that he took a break from the game. And that's really important to knowing what's going on the account. He hasn't played, the whole time for that year. So every day when you log into the account, do you come over and check what missions you have available?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So every time I log in, what I do first is, get my little challenges, the daily challenges out the way,
Hmm?
and I try to get the advanced ones, and then that's when I come to my missions, and I know that this mission that I'm on currently is to get something to level 8
Yeah.
in my Great Hall. So that's what I've been focusing on a little bit, but like I said, I haven't really been on as consistently as I want it to be.
That's all right. Everybody's got to play how it makes sense for them. As long as your focus is those missions, that's great. And like tailoring the way you play around those, especially until you get Arbiter, is super important. And one of the next things I'm going to say probably is same thing goes for Lydia and Faction Wars. Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll get there. So I would say that if you put this as your highest priority, you could have Arbiter in about 2 months. That if you're pushing in arena, trying to get in as many fights as possible, for me, that's what I've found. And at the latest, my goal for you would be to have Arbiter by Christmas, but you can do it a lot faster depending on how many arena fights you're getting in.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so the next thing is going to be taking a look at the roster. And I was taking a look here before we started the call, and one of the things I was noticing was number 1, you have a lot of great new champions. Number 2, it seems like your understanding of what champions are good and who to 6-star is very strong. That's really positive qualities, and I think that will reward you going forward.
Yeah. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So I see that you have recently 6-starred Georgid and Pythion. probably Kymar and Ragash, and those are literally 4 of the most impactful champions on your account. So that's definitely worth pursuing and making sure that you invest in those 4 champions. We're going to be using them a lot on your account. If we scroll down here, another champion I always push is going to be Magnar. He is most people's best nuker. And of course, you just got Nut in the fusion. He's going to be a high priority as well.
Okay.
Okay, so I always encourage people. I know this is going to be a video you can watch back, but feel free to take some notes. It's going to be a lot of information I'm going to throw at you. And viewers at home, write down, jot down, type out, a couple of the most important things for you as well, so that you can remember them also. Next thing to note, it really is a good idea to have multiple cold hearts, but I'm not sure how important that's going to be because of Nut. So monitor that, but building a second cold heart is usually a good idea as well. All right, so let me come over here into the champion vaults. I'm noticing some really, really good champions in here also. My dude Calvalax is insane, as is Pinthroy. Both of them are really good. I personally love Cythalia, and so we'll talk about that. Oella and Countess Lix are all absolutely amazing. You have Mishinaki and Vizix. And oh my goodness, it keeps going. All right, so many good champions on your account. Yeah, you need to feel blessed here. I've been on a lot of accounts that do not have this really good roster, and so I know you're just right on the edge of really breaking out. Any questions on your roster before we move on?
No, not, I don't have any questions like that. I mean,
Okay.
if you see, I I got all of the masteries for a couple of that are 6-star, but they have no gear because I
Uh-huh.
know they're good champions. I think for the Nutcracker and Pythion, I think I have all their masteries and stuff too.
Okay, perfect. That's great. Yeah, masteries is one area that some players just kind of gloss over, but the difference between having masteries and not having masteries is so massive. Makes such a big impact. So before we jump into some areas of the game, I always come in here and I double check the sparring pit. Of course you have your sparring pit unlocked. Really great job there. I see that you're running some level 30 champions in here. I would encourage you to also make sure that you do 4-star champions in there as well, because that's going to give you the ability to run that food as often as possible, like these incubuses here, the level 21s or the level 18. Just get 5 of those and throw them in there, and that will help you get your food to level up all of these champions that you need on your account.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I got that from one of your videos actually, the sparring pit. I was using them just to, I would just throw in some legendaries and some other people that I wanted to upgrade passively. But when
Yeah.
I saw that I can get, what is it? I think you said one 6-star every week.
Yeah, 1 6-star every week. I encourage everybody to
Yeah.
watch that video. I still think that's the best thing I've ever put on the internet. So great job there. Let's jump into Arena because you have a ridiculously amazing team. So let's see where you're at with it. Okay, so for your Arena team, I see that you're on the right track up here. Okay, and this is the team, literally, that I was going to say you should be focusing on right here. Kymar, you want to build with speed and accuracy. Ideally, you should be able to get him over 400 accuracy and over 250 speed. Sifi, you just want as fast as possible. And then Ragash, if you had a Madame Saris, I would suggest putting Saris in there because she pairs really well with Kymar. So down the line, or if I missed her, let's just double check.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have
You
serious.
don't have Saris. Okay. So down the line, if you get her, she would be a great addition to this team. But before you get her, you're going to need to put Georgid and Ragash really close in speeds to one another. Okay, because
Okay.
when you come in here, when you do Kaimar's A2, it's going to buff strip and put them to sleep. And then when you do Ragash's A2, it's going to wake them back up. Now, you will stun them, so after he's fully booked, you might be able to just let it go and run Georgette at whatever speed. But if you're having trouble with people cutting in, then just make Georgette faster and closer to Ragash's speed.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I have any artifacts on Georgia or Ragash right now.
Okay, but this is the team that I was going to recommend for you. And as soon as you build this, you're going to go to gold 5 immediately. And all that will take is just a little bit of effort. So make sure you hit those refresh buttons and just like devote yourself to checking it multiple times a day, or use a couple gems to refresh until you get to gold 5. And once you get to gold 5, you'll never leave again. You know, in fact, you can get to gold 5 with a roster that's not even half as good as this. You know, the teams that you've been using before down here, before you got all these, you can get to gold 5 with those. It's just a matter of picking the right fights. So push through and get to gold 5, because you get way more gold medals for your Great Hall in gold 5 than anywhere else, and that will get you there the fastest. Okay, as for Tag Team Arena, it is my firm belief that everybody can get to Bronze 3 and Bronze 4, no matter what your account is. I don't like to make it sound like I'm bragging, but just for reference, like I'm in Bronze 4 on my free-to-play account, and on that account we just got Scylla the Drakes a couple weeks ago. So it's definitely possible, and I don't think that people... I think the most important thing about that point is that people don't realize they can get there. All you have to do is be consistent and do your fights, and you will go up in the green. Because there's always fights you can complete. But in terms of what teams should you be using in 3v3, let's go ahead and figure that out. Definitely you're going to want this team here. And then I think what we'll probably do is just build some other teams for you, at least to be working on. So one of the main reasons why Arbiter is so important is because she is going to be the core of one of your main arena teams. She's going to allow you to do things in arena that add a huge level of consistency. And that's the main reason why we're going to push for her. Until then, I think it's going to be best if we run a Python team that probably involves, well, I mean, I run Python and Rio together on the free-to-play. And then you would ideally want probably someone for decreased defense, and then some survivable nuker for the damage. That's where your Magnar is going to come in. So I will just put a 2 here for 3v3 team number 2. You with these builds, like Rio and Python, you can build super tanky. Somebody in a shield or bolster set works really great. If you have any Guardian gear, that could do well on here. Probably you don't, is my guess. And
Yeah, I don't have any.
yeah. Now another option here, instead of the Stag Knight, can also be that Cythalia that I mentioned. So if I can locate her, she could work really well in this team also. Maybe even replacing Rio with Cythalia. So doing like a Cythalia, and then a Stag Knight in there. That could be a good idea as well, where you strip the buffs, then do decreased defense, then kill them. That's all great. In a go second team like this, you just need to be able to survive the initial onslaught or go before their go second team. So
Okay,
I would mess around with this. I would use this as a starting point, and if you find that you're dying a lot, I mean, you can put Cythalia in Stone Skin as long as she has accuracy. I do that a lot. But Magnar is just going to be so survivable because your goal is to build him with high HP. Now, I guess the next team that I'm going to tell you to build would be your Arbiter team. Let's see if we can build some type of Arbiter team like with Gorgorab, and then you can replace the Gorgorab with the Arbiter when you get her. I think that would be a good idea. So, in order to go with Gorgorab, or eventually Arbiter, I think you're gonna want that Countess Lix in there. She does a really great job of locking people out, and then probably putting the ultimate Death Knight in there, and then you're gonna need somebody for damage, and I just don't know who that's gonna be. It might be possible that you need to build Ragash for damage and then put someone else in your team number 1 for decreased defense. That might be a thing. Or putting Georgid in the other team, because this would go really well here. The Georgid is getting protected by Ultimate Death Knight. Countess Lix is locking them out, and then they can't kill Georgid. So for your 3v3 setup, maybe you need to split up your best team. A lot of people need to do that in order for the most success. So we could go like that, and then maybe putting like a Rio in here or some kind of flex spot, and then putting your Ragash and building him for damage with a little bit of accuracy. Something like that could be great as well.
Okay.
But either way, I think you could easily be in silver in the next month by, working on and improving these teams, really just maxing out and gearing these great champions that you already have. So I think that would be pretty easy for you to do. Yeah, okay, we'll just do. All right, so any questions on any arena teams before we move on to the next area?
Yeah, no questions. I just wanted to say for my 3v3, I really
Yeah.
just put in whoever and take out
Okay.
the one man defenses.
Okay, and that's great. Yeah, absolutely. But you also want to be spending some time trying to get up in the green to rank up. You should be able to do that very easily with that roster.
Okay.
All right, so let's hop over to Clan Boss. And it's gonna go long, so that's perfectly fine.
Oh, I have a key in the in my inbox if you want to go ahead and grab that.
Yes, perfect. You literally read my mind. All right, so let's collect the key. Come over to the Clan Boss, and let's talk about Clan Boss team. So right now, you're running an old school team that seems really well set up. You have a lot of healing, you have 2 damage dealers, and you have counterattack. I love all of that. I would imagine that Nut needs to go in this team. You
Yeah, I've seen a lot of good things about his clan boss.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I really want to get a Demitha team going too, man, so I can start hitting Ultra Nightmare.
Oh yeah, that's exactly, like, you read my mind on that one for sure. Now, taking a look at your roster here, it doesn't really seem like you have the champions for a Demitha team, but if you're able to get a Seeker, you could run Mythair. If you're able to get a second Painkeeper, you could run the budget Mythair. Like, there's a lot of great Demitha teams, but I'm not sure that you really have one in there for now. I could be wrong. Maybe there's like a Skull Crusher variant. Maybe if somebody knows in the comments a Demitha Skull Crusher variant, let us know so that we can work on this setup for him. But until then, I think that you're right on track with the champions to run in here. My next thought would probably be to have Pythion in the team. So if we take our dude out that was in there before, and we replace him with Pythion. Then we have Frozen Banshee, and we put in the Nut. Then we should be able to do a lot more damage, I think. And then everybody in this team should be at minimum 171 speed, preferred 191 speed or more. And then the more speed you put on them, a lot of times the better it will do. But you just have to find that sweet spot of the right speeds that work for you. But sticking in that 191 to 171 range is really a good idea. Rio can keep up the decrease attack. You'll have buffs for Pythion. Nut is going to have the counter attack. He's going to do a lot of damage, and Frozen Banshee can do the rest. And then later on down the road, I think working in Fane. I know I saw her somewhere. Working in Fane is going to be a really good idea because she brings the decreased defense and weaken similar to Rio. So if you want to take Rio out of your team, then you can bring in Fane in that type of Myth-Air team. Any questions
Okay.
on the clan boss?
Yeah, nah, no questions.
Okay. Now tell me about some of the things that you've been trying in Hydra. Have you been active in normal and hard? Just normal? Where are you at with that?
Just normal and really, like I said, I just haven't really been paying attention to my team. If you go to the team setup and look at my first team, the one that I always use is
Uh-huh.
usually gives me, the first little chest, like 1.6 million
Okay.
at least.
Okay.
And I
So
mean, I
what
haven't really
you
been
really
putting much
need is a
attention after
team
that.
that can get you the top chest for normal.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So for the top chest for normal, you are going to definitely want Sifi. You are also going to want Artak in here, and you are going to want you want Ragash? You probably want Ragash, but we'll get back to that. I think guaranteed you're going to want Nut. We have Sifi, we have Artak, we have Nut, and then another really, really amazing champion that I think is going to help you a lot. It's going to be Pinthroy. Because I don't really see, unless I missed somebody, any other block buffs champions. So that's going to be really helpful for you as well. And since you're putting all these debuffs up there, Cantra is going to keep the provokes. If you can put maybe Artak in a provoke set eventually, or a secondary provoking champion, that will really help. And then, yes, I think Artek plus Nut plus your Ragash will get you all of the damage, all of the debuffs. I think that should be good for you. You'll be a little bit old to the Fearhead, but I also don't like Rector Drath, and I think she's your only option if you want to avoid the Fearhead. So, kind of just got to deal, maybe. But that should be enough damage, and I think that would work on all rotations, at least to 1 key normal. And then as your gear gets better, this team might even be able to 1 key hard as well.
Alrighty.
Now, when
Sounds
you're
good.
building this team, like your Sifi, you're just going to use the same gear for Arena. For Ragash, you're going to use the same gear for Arena. But Nut, you're going to use the same build as you're doing in Dungeons and Clan Boss. Artak, you might want, as I said, to put a Provoke set on, or a Cursed set, or Relentless. And then Cantra and Archbishop Pinthroy really just focus on their speeds. Everybody in the team should be as fast as possible in order to get the most damage, but also use the builds that make sense for the rest of your account also.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so next up, let's do a brief overview in Dungeons and then wrap up the video. We'll take a brief stop in Faction Wars. It does seem like you have teams set up for every faction. That's great. Again, just another note, please continue to focus on these factions. Level up champions that are going to help you beat these factions. Like,
Oh yeah.
because Lydia is going to be a huge improvement for your account. A huge improvement for your account. All right, so dungeons. Start with Spider. We are hitting Spider 20. That's great. We have a Cold Heart, Rio, and you can build an 8-second, 10-second team here. Basically, all you do is you need these 3 people, and you will have the fastest Spider 20 team possible. I don't know if that video's out yet, but either it's already out or it's going to be out. I have a video coming soon on this team, and so you can watch that if you need a breakdown. And then also, another champion that's great in here is Artak. If you're missing a little bit of damage, then you can just add Artak in there. You can also add Kymar to reset them. And then that will keep you on Spider 20 for a long time.
Okay.
Another thing that you can do that's really good is if you put in somebody to control the spiderlings, like an Achak. I would say Ragash for the stun, but he'll probably just kill them. So somebody
Mm.
who's going to freeze them is for the best. And
Yeah, I was using a Crypt King Grawl for that.
oh, perfect. Yeah, yeah, I forgot about the Crypt King. So something like this, where you put the Kymar in here to reset as well. You might not even need the Kymar. You might just put the Cold Heart in there. But something like this would work for Spider 25 as well. So depending on what you want to run, 20 or 25, that should give you some options. All right, Dragon. Do you run 25 or do you still run 20?
I run 20 because it's quicker.
Yeah, okay. You have a seer team here, and once you get Lydia, she will slot into this team perfectly. So I would say I love the combo of Sifi and Seer, so that's great. The rest of the team, let's just pause and think about for a second. We're going to want Kymar in here 100% for sure. And we are going to need somebody for decreased defense. And that is probably going to be the Ragash. If you need somebody for more buffs, then you could put somebody like your Ultimate Death Knight back in there. You could technically put Skull Crusher. Just whoever's really going to put up the most buffs could go in there. There's a lot of options. I don't see anyone that's like really standing out as a good option, like somebody who puts multiple good buffs. But
Um, I have a was it Moz Mage?
oh, you have a Mausoleum Mage. Yes. Mausoleum
Yeah,
Mage would be
he's great.
perfect there. But my guess is that you're not going to need that in order to clear the waves. My guess is that you'll be able to build your Seer with enough crit damage that you can just run Nut in here and you can have him do his A2 so that he puts those buffs on, even though it's just on himself. So you'll have Sifi go first and put up her buffs. Ragash do the decreased defense. Nut do his A2, then Seer. And then on wave 2, then Kymar can come in and do the reset. And then on wave 3, you kind of just let them do their own thing. Nut can hopefully solo the boss, and Seer can provide some big damage as well. This should quicken up your team quite a bit.
Okay.
And I actually think once you get Lydia in here, then that's a very easy Dragon 25 team. But depending on the stats on this team might also be able to do Dragon 25 for you as well. You might need somebody in a shield set, but I don't know who that would be. But this is a really good structure to build off of. And in fact, your Ice Golem team is going to be exactly the same thing, except instead of Nut, you're going to want a Poisoner. Now, I'm not sure who the best Poisoner for you is going to be. It might just be Crypt King Rawl. But your other options include your Calvalax is great. Your Venomage is also great. So you have some options to try in this last spot. The Frozen Banshee could work there as well because you already have her maxed out. But somebody who's going to put HP burn, poisons, so that the Ice Golem doesn't kill you, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And then I would use that same structure over on Fire Knight as well. And in that last spot, then I would just put the Allure. So your basic dungeon team should always be Seer, Siphi, someone for decreased defense. You have a flex spot, which I'll just do this, and then Kaimar. So this flex spot is the spot that you're going to change. Now, depending on what affinity the level is, you might want somebody else other than Ragash, but you're in kind of a tough spot because your main decreased defense champions are Ragash, Deacon, and Stagnite, who are all spirits.
Yeah, all spirit, yeah.
What that might mean is you might want to level up Duck or Tayrell so that you have another option. They're going to go in your faction war teams anyway, so those are great investments. Same thing with War Maiden. You can go in those teams or either of those two decreased defense champions. Any of those three can go in that spot for Ragash. And then when you get Lydia, it will obviously.
Alrighty.
All right, cool. So I think we've covered pretty much every area of the game. So what questions do you have? Is there anything that we didn't cover that you really want to know here?
Oh no, I mean that covered everything. I just I need to work on my building up those teams and maxing out the correct champions
Yeah.
instead of just leveling up somebody that might be good in the future, but not somebody that I need now.
Yeah, yeah, and you have a lot of great champions, so I think that's going to be pretty easy for you to find good champions to level up. Well, it's been really great having you on the channel here. I hope that everybody benefited from this conversation going over your account. Let us know in the comments what questions do you have for me or for Sheephair about the game, about his account, anything along those lines, let us know. And if you need help, make sure you ask. You can hit me up in Discord, in my personal Discord, or in my DMs, and I'm always available in the comments section as well. Until next time, thank you so much for being here, my dude, and we will see you guys in the next video.